Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. India stands firm against terrorism at Qingdao SCO meet. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh refuses to sign joint declaration, says resolve to fight terror missing. At SCO meet in China, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reiterates terror and peace cannot coexist, asserts epicenters of terrorism no longer safe, urges unequivocal condemnation by the member states. Axiom 4 SpaceX crew with India's Shubhanshu, Shukla and 3 other astronauts expected to dock with International Space Station around 16:30 Indian Standard Time today. India continues to evacuate Indians from West Asia conflict zones through Operation Sindhu, also brings back 9 Nepalese, 4 Sri Lankan citizens along with 3,426 Indians. Monsoon fury hit India's hilly states. Flash floods trigger landslide leading to massive destruction in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Rescue operation underway. And US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth along with military representatives to hold news conference on strikes on Iran. Trump says success was legendary. Taking a firm stand at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defense Ministers meet in China, Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh refused to sign the joint declaration at the SCO ministerial meet as it did not mention the April 22 Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 innocent people, mostly tourists. Member states are attending the summit in China's Qingdao to discuss issues related to regional and international security. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today took a veiled dig at Pakistan for using cross-border terrorism as an instrument of policy. Attending the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defence Ministers meet in China, Rajnath Singh reiterated India's stand on zero tolerance against terrorism, saying that any acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable regardless of their motivation, whenever, wherever and by whomsoever committed.
India's zero tolerance for terrorism is manifest today through its actions. This includes our right to defend ourselves against terrorism, and we have shown that epicenters of terrorism are no longer safe and we will not hesitate to target them.
Without naming Pakistan, the Defence Minister stressed that SCO countries must unite in condemning states which use cross-border terrorism as an instrument of policy.
It is imperative that those who sponsor, nurture and utilize terrorism for their narrow and selfish ends must bear the consequences. Some countries use cross-border terrorism as an instrument of policy and provide shelter to terrorists. There should be no place for such double standards. SCO should not hesitate to criticize such nations.
Rajnath Singh asserted that the biggest challenges the country is facing today are related to peace, security and trust deficit. He also explained that the root cause of these problems.
I believe that the biggest challenges that we are facing in our region are related to peace, security and trust deficit. And the root cause of these problems is increasing radicalization, extremism and terrorism. Peace and prosperity cannot coexist with terrorism and proliferation of weapons of the mass destruction in the hands of the non-state actors and the terror groups. Dealing with these challenges require decisive action, and we must unite in our fight against these evils for our collective safety and security.
He also spoke about the dastardly and heinous Pahalgam terrorist attack which killed 26 civilians on April 22nd, terming the Operation Sindoor carried out thereafter as India's right to defend.
The pattern of the Pahalgam terror attack matches with LET's previous terror attacks in India. In exercising its right to defend against terrorism and preempt as well as deter further cross-border terrorist attacks, India on 7th May 2025 successfully launched Operation Sindoor to dismantle cross-border terrorist infrastructure.
The Defence Minister stated that acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable regardless of their motivation, urging unequivocal condemnation by the SCO members.
Any acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable regardless of their motivation, whenever, wherever and by whomsoever committed. SCO members must condemn this evil unequivocally. We reiterate the need to hold the perpetrators, organizers, financiers and sponsors of reprehensible acts of terrorism, including cross-border terrorism, accountable and bring them to justice.
All right, Read India's Vishal Barrister joins us for more on this. Vishal, big development at the SCO. India has refused to sign the joint declaration and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reiterating India's firm stance against terrorism.
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. You heard it correctly. India has refused to sign the joint declaration. And Rajnath Singh did also mention about the trust deficit which is there between its neighbors, and he was referring to both India and China, and why India is so much focused on building trust, but the neighbors are not trusting and are not trustworthy. We heard the Defence Minister also raising the issue of Pahalgam and what resulted in Operation Sindoor, and why Operation Sindoor was so much necessary for India to defend its integrity and also its borders. So the Defence Minister has made it very clear that unless there is a trust between the member countries, unless the financiers and also the sponsors of these state-sponsored terrorism are not brought to justice, there is no point talking and deliberating on this issue all over again, because the whole spirit of SCO is focused on the regional stability and security. Abhishek?
And Vishal, also, is this a message from India that it will not compromise on its national security even at multilateral forums like the SCO? And also, any information on how other member states are reacting to India's stance?
Well, we have to wait for the reactions of the other members, because India is, Defence Minister is also holding bilaterals with other countries. He had a bilateral meeting with the Russian Defence Minister, so the details are yet to come out. But as far as India's position is a question, it is very much clear that India has made it very clear to the world and at the SCO that India will not be cowed down, India will not succumb to any kind of pressure, and India will not sign any declaration unless its concerns are also recognized in that agenda.
Also, Vishal, India clearly sending a strong signal that its fight against terrorism is non-negotiable.
Well, absolutely non-negotiable, quote unquote. This is what the Defence Minister said, and he also did not exchange any pleasantries with his Pakistani counterpart. These are the source-based reports, and India making it very clear that we all stand here for fighting terrorism, because no country is safe, even the superpowers are not safe in the change scenario where the hybrid warfare are taking place. Cyber attacks can jeopardize any system in any country. So we all need to stand united. Today, a country can take pleasure in sponsoring terrorism against its neighbor, but it should also understand that in the change scenario, it can also become victim any day, any time. And that is why he said that the issue of terrorism, state-sponsored terrorism, is unnegotiable.
All right, Vishal, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest on that story. Moving on, based on specific intelligence, a joint operation was launched by Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police in the Bihali area of Basantgarh, named as Operation Bihali. Security forces have established contact with terrorists in the region and the operation is currently ongoing. The joint effort aims to neutralize terrorist threats and ensure the safety of the local population. And the United States Embassy in India has announced that applicants for F, M and J non-immigrant visas should make their social media accounts public. Under the new rules, Indian students and others planning to pursue academia or enroll in vocational or exchange programs are mandated to ensure that their social media profiles are set to public before submitting their visa applications. A refusal to set the accounts to public could be grounds for rejection. Similar directives have been issued by other U.S. embassies across the world, with the U.S. Embassy in Mexico stating that visa applicants must list all social media usernames or handles of every platform they have used from the last 5 years. All right, we are slipping into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. U.S. and Iran to hold nuclear talks next week. President Trump signals easing Iran oil sanctions enforcement to help put country into shape. Kennedy's U.S. vaccine panel breaks norms, plans to review immunization schedule. And Australia awaits verdict in mushroom murder case.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolve through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Moving on to other stories. The world is hoping for the things to calm down in West Asia as the United States would hold nuclear talks with Iran next week. US President Donald Trump even teased the possibility of a deal. Speaking in The Hague, where he attended a NATO summit on Wednesday, Trump said he did not see Iran again engaging in nuclear weapons development. He said US would likely seek a commitment from Iran to end its nuclear ambitions at talks and credited US strikes on Iran with bringing a swift end to the conflict between Israel and Tehran. Tehran has for decades denied accusations by Western leaders that it is seeking nuclear arms. Trump said he was confident Tehran would pursue a diplomatic path towards reconciliation, though he gave no details on the discussions next week, such as the venue and the participants.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought. Now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not.
In both Iran and Israel, residents expressed relief at the end of the fighting, but also apprehension. Meanwhile, Trump administration hit back at accounts that Iran may have moved enriched uranium before US bombing as a row grew on how much the strikes set back Tehran's nuclear program. Trump has lashed out angrily at media accounts of a classified report that doubted the extent of damage to Iranian nuclear sites. Another key question raised by experts is whether Iran, preparing for the strike, moved out some 400 kilograms of enriched uranium, which could now be hidden elsewhere in the vast country. The uranium in question is enriched to 60% above levels for the civilian usage, but still below weapons grade. The US military said it dropped 14 GBU-57 bunker buster bombs, powerful 13,600 kilogram weapons on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Trump has repeatedly said that the attack obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities, including the key site of Fordo, buried inside a mountain. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baqi, in an interview with Al Jazeera, said that its nuclear facilities were badly damaged.
Yes, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure, because it has come under repeated attacks by Israeli and American aggressors.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will hold a major news conference on Thursday to quell doubts of the damage done by U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Trump, in a social media post, said Hegseth, together with military representatives, will be holding a major news conference at the Pentagon in order to fight for the dignity of the great American pilots. Now, Iran is refusing to back down, at least for optics. Iran's IRGC Commander General Mohammad Pakpour warned that Iran's forces are fully prepared and will respond strongly to any attack. The warning came after Israel launched a surprise bombing campaign on June 13 that killed top Iranian military leaders, nuclear scientists, and targeted key nuclear and missile sites. Iran hit back with a missile barrage that overwhelmed Israeli defenses for the first time. After 12 days of airstrikes, a ceasefire was brokered by US President Donald Trump. Iran reported 610 deaths and nearly 5,000 injuries. Israel reported 28 deaths. The full extent of damage in Iran remains unclear.
همه رزمندگان ما دستشون روی ماشه است. اگر خطایی از طرف دشمن صورت بگیره حتما مثل 12 روز گذشته مقابله مثل جانانه انجام خواهیم داد. در دفاع از این کشور ما لحظه‌ای به خودمون تردید راه نمیدیم.
Meanwhile, Iranian authorities have intensified an internal security crackdown across the country with mass arrests, executions and military deployments, particularly in the restive Kurdish region. IRGC arrested 26 people, accusing them of collaborating with Israel days after a ceasefire between the two countries was announced. The arrest came after Israel's military chief said on Wednesday that its commandos had operated secretly inside Iran during the country's 12-day war, as the spy chief also hailed assistance from US intelligence. Security forces set up checkpoints and began arresting suspected spies, with Revolutionary Guard and Basij forces placed on high alert. Iran also said that it executed 3 men accused of spying for Israel. Both countries have claimed victories in conflict since a ceasefire went into effect on Tuesday. In a first, US President Donald Trump called for Israel to pardon Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu or cancel his trial on corruption charges. Trump extolled Netanyahu in his social media post that appeared to be a reference to US involvement and support for Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear program. It was unclear if Trump meant the US could do anything to aid Netanyahu in his legal battle. Israeli media have reported that cross-examination of Netanyahu began on June 3rd in a Tel Aviv court and was expected to take about a year to complete. Netanyahu was indicted in 2019 in Israel on charges of bribery, fraud and breach of trust, all of which Netanyahu denies. The trial began in 2020 and involves 3 criminal cases. He has pleaded not guilty. And the new members of US Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s panel of vaccine advisors will review long-approved immunization schedules for children and teens. The panel held its first meeting on Wednesday, pledging to revisit the childhood vaccine schedule and promoting themes long embraced by anti-vaccine activists. The panel's first major test comes on Thursday when it votes on whether to recommend a newly approved antibody shot against respiratory syncytial virus for infants whose mothers did not receive an RSV vaccine during pregnancy. And in our latest on Mexico shooting, at least 12 persons, including a teenager, were killed in Mexico during the early hours of Thursday after a gunman opened fire at a religious celebration in the Mexican state of Guanajuato. A probe is underway to identify the shooter and the motive behind the attack. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum condemned the shooting as deplorable. Moving on, a judge in an Australian mushroom murder trial continued his instructions to the jury on Thursday as the case nears its conclusion. Justice Christopher Biel, presiding over the trial at La Trobe Valley Magistrates Court, entered his third day of guiding the jury through the legal considerations in the case. The trial is being held in Morwell. Erin Patterson is charged with the murders of her mother-in-law, father-in-law and mother-in-law's sister, Heather Wilkinson. She also faces one count of attempted murder in connection with Heather's husband, Ian Wilkinson, who survived. The alleged poisonings occurred in July 2023 after a family lunch. Prosecutors alleged that toxic mushrooms were deliberately used in the meal. Now, Colombian President Gustavo Petro signed a labor reform on Wednesday after its approval by the Colombian Senate earlier this month. The bill includes measures to enshrine an 8-hour daytime workday, increase weekend and holiday pay, and require social security payments from delivery app drivers. The approved reform will instantly raise wages for work done from 7 p.m. onwards and will gradually boost the extra pay for Sunday and holiday shifts through July 2027. Petro said the Ministry of Labour must create a task force to ensure employers are applying the reform. He also encouraged Colombians to vote for officials who will give continuity to the law in the 2026 legislative and presidential elections. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. The leaders of Thailand and Cambodia are visiting different parts of their disputed land border on Thursday as tensions between the two neighbors simmer over a territorial dispute. Tensions escalated after a brief armed clashes in a border area late last month that left one Cambodian soldier dead, with both countries accusing one another of initiating the violence. Indonesian rescuers have recovered the body of a Brazilian woman who fell off a cliff while hiking on Mount Rinjani, the country's second highest volcano. 26-year-old Juliana Marines was hiking with her friends on Saturday when the accident occurred. Urban farmers in Abuja are struggling to hold on to their land as real estate development continued to go up in Nigeria's capital, leading to displacement of farms and potential food insecurity. The annual Kataragama Esala festival is set to commence on Thursday in Sri Lanka with the flag hoisting ceremony. Devotees who started their Padayatra across weeks have reached Kataragama, completing a journey of over 500 kilometers across challenging terrain on foot. The Perahara will feature a fire ceremony on July 7 with Maha Perahara, or the grand celebration, scheduled for 10th of July. The festival, which is celebrated across faiths, is known to have deep bonds bridging India and Sri Lanka. Kataragama's main temple, the Mahadevala, is dedicated to the Hindu god of war Skanda, who is also revered by Buddhists as Kataragama Devyo and believed by Muslims to be connected to Hazrat Khizr. And thousands of people have flooded into Worthy Farm as the gates officially open for the 2025 Glastonbury Festival in Pilton, England. Over 200,000 attendees are expected to arrive over the next few days ahead of the main festival kicking off on Friday. The festival will see performers ranging from Olivia Rodrigo to Rod Stewart and Charlie XCX. Workers were busy setting up the festival stages, including the main arena. The main music program doesn't begin until Friday, but festival goers had plenty of plans to keep themselves busy. Organizers have said this year's edition, taking place from June 25th to 29th, will be the last for the next 2 years to allow time for the festival grounds to recover. All right, time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. India exposes Pakistan's gross hypocrisy at UN Security Council. India's Smart Cities mission completes 10 years of providing financial assistance and promoting sustainable urban development through selected cities. An International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking being observed today with focus on breaking the chains, prevention, treatment and recovery for all.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of our top stories. India stands firm against terrorism at Qingdao SCO meet. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh refuses to sign joint declaration, says resolve to fight terror missing. At the SCO meet in China, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh reiterates terror and peace cannot coexist, asserts epicenters of terrorism no longer safe, urges unequivocal condemnation by the member states. Axiom 4 SpaceX crew with India's Shubhanshu, Shukla and 3 other astronauts expected to dock with International Space Station around 16:30 Indian Standard Time today. On the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defence Ministers meeting in Qingdao, China, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Thursday held a meeting with Belarusian Defence Minister Lieutenant General Viktor Krenin. Minister Rajnath Singh called the discussion an enriching interaction. And India continues to evacuate its citizens from Israel and Iran even as the news of ceasefire came in. 3,426 Indians have been brought back so far from Iran. Sharing details about the evacuation mission, India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said 272 Indian and 3 Nepalese nationals who were evacuated on a special flight that arrived in New Delhi from Mashhad at 0001 hours on 26th June. And India has strongly rejected what it described as Pakistan's nefarious agenda at the United Nations Security Council, accusing Islamabad of attempting to deflect attention from its own human rights violations and state-sponsored cross-border terrorism. India's permanent representative to the UN Ambassador Parvatneni Harish issued a sharp rebuttal during the UNSC's open debate on children and armed conflict.
Our world is witnessing an alarming escalation in conflicts and terrorist attacks, and children are their most unfortunate casualties. As per the UNSC's report, grave violations against children have surged 25%, while sexual violence has risen 35% in 2024, a sobering indictment that demands immediate and decisive action. Therefore, today's discussion is both urgent and necessary. I am constrained to respond to the politically motivated remarks made by the delegate of Pakistan, one of the grave violators of the CAC agenda. Pakistan is casting unwarranted aspersions over UN processes and also smearing India at various discussions to pursue their nefarious agenda. We reject this attempt by Pakistan to deflect attention from the atrocities committed against children in their country, as highlighted in the Secretary General's report, as well as their rampant cross-border terrorism.
The Indian envoy labelled Pakistan as one of the grave violators of the CAC agenda, referring to the Secretary General's recent CAAC report, which detailed grave violations against children in Pakistan, including attacks on girls' schools and health workers.
On CAC provides details of serious violations against children in armed conflict in Pakistan. The Secretary General has expressed concern at the rise in such grave violations reported, including attacks against schools, particularly girls' schools, against health workers, and about the incidents in the border areas with Afghanistan, where a series of killing and maiming of Afghan children was directly attributed to cross-border shelling and airstrikes by Pakistani armed forces.
And concluding his remarks, the Indian envoy reiterated India's firm stance on Jammu and Kashmir, stating the entire union territory of Jammu and Kashmir has been, is and will always be an integral and inalienable part of India, irrespective of the frequent, incessant spate of lies and falsehoods by Pakistan. All right, let's go back to our top story of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh refusing to sign the joint declaration at the SCO. And to talk more on this, we are joined by Vice Admiral retired Shekhar Sinha, Chairman, India Foundation Trustee Board. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you giving us your precious time. India drawing a clear red line that national security and sovereignty are non-negotiable. What's your take, sir, on India's stand?
Namaskar, and thank you very much for getting me on your show. You see, our stand on terrorism has been absolutely, shall I say, constantly the same. There is a continuity in that. And we have always said that terrorism will not be acceptable. Territorial integrity of the country is absolutely non-negotiable. It should not be violated. And also about the people who cause the terror. Those who are perpetrating the terror, we will chase them, we will follow them, and we will remove them from this earth. And he was clearly referring to the Pahalgam issue. But I think that it's a very good thing that our Defence Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh, has not signed the statement, the joint statement. It only proves that India has very firmly taken up this point. You see, in this meeting, what has happened is that you got Pakistan, which is the epicenter of terrorism, and it is supported by China, and both the countries are present in that meeting. And therefore, it is a good thing that he has not signed, and he spelled out everything very clearly. And one thing that I want to put out to the viewers, that the epicenter of terrorism in India is not Lashkar-e-Taiba, not Jaish-e-Mohammed. It is the ISI Pak army. The other groups, which are the terror groups, they are only hired labor. They are given a task and they are given money to perform this task. And he has said, our Honorable Raksha Mantri has said, that we will, those who are supporting, those who are harboring, we will chase them, we will hit them hard next time they do this. So I think this is a very, very strong message that our Defence Minister has given.
Right, you're talking about the strong message, but how will this strong message, strong stance play out in India's global positioning, sir? Can this message strengthen India's international credibility as a consistent voice against terror?
Absolutely, because India has been saying this all the time, and India as a G20's leader, a leading country of G20, now has a lot of value. People are listening to you. When India speaks, the world listens to you. And it is important that in all these forums, be small or be it big, in every forum, if you point out about the terrorism and perpetrators of terrorism, and you saw a little while ago in your news, in your bulletin, the Indian ambassador in the UN, the permanent representative, he has made a solid rebuttal against Pakistan's terrorism. So I think we are very consistent in our policy, and I don't think we should give up, even an inch on this issue. But I am very sorry to say that SCO, having these two countries on board, is very difficult for them to take any firm action on this. That apart, we must make our voice heard and must get recorded that Indian Defence Minister did not sign this. And he's done a very brave thing.
You're talking about the voice being heard, sir. What do you have to say on the strong language, strong words used by the Defence Minister, Rajnath Singh? Peace and prosperity cannot coexist with terrorism. We need to bring perpetrators, sponsors of terrorism to justice.
Well, it's a clear signal to Pakistan. You know that they are the ones who are creating this, and they are the epicenter. The problem is not that. The problem is that whole world knows that Pakistan is epicenter, but they are refraining from naming because they are using Pakistan for their own purposes. Look at the recent use of Pakistan airfield for the B-52 bombing. You know, this is, and that is why the US government is supporting Pakistan no end, knowing fully well that they are the ones who caused 9/11. After all, Osama bin Laden was hiding next to a military establishment for so many years in Abbottabad. So I think that there is no doubt about that. India's voice is heard. India will continue to say this. The unfortunate part that the United Nations has not defined terrorism today, and that is the sad part.
Sir, if I may ask you, I mean, what does it mean if the joint declaration is not signed? SCO did not issue any final declaration to, there's no joint communique either. What do we understand with this?
Well, it means that India is in complete disagreement with whatever has been said or whatever has not been said. We agree that nothing has been said. And therefore, India's very strong stand. You know, this is an important thing. We are a strong country. We are economically rising. We are number 4 in the world. Militarily, we are rising. We have shown it in Op Sindoor. And therefore, if India says by thumping the table, India's stature goes up. And it has gone up by the Minister Rajnath Singh not signing that declaration.
Also, sir, does India's refusal to endorse the SCO declaration and rather will dig at Pakistan, he did not explicitly name Pakistan, but it clearly sends a message that India will prioritize principle over multilateral diplomacy and also in the multilateral events like SCO?
Yeah, very much. You know, it is diplomatically not correct to name any country, and particularly the ones that you're sitting there and you're in China. The decency demands that you don't sort of name the country, and certainly don't name the host. Regrettably, the host of this meeting, SCO meeting, which is China, it is the greatest supporter of Pakistan in the world. You look at the weapon systems. You look at the naming of terrorists in the UN Security Council. They have always vetoed it. With great difficulty, they name somebody. That is because they also think that Pakistan is useful to them. And therefore, Pakistan happens to be their friend, higher than mountain, deeper than sea. All those things they will keep talking. It only means that, this is like a pawn who can be used by anybody. The Americans are also using Pakistan. The Chinese are also using Pakistan. So this is a clear message to Pakistan that, this kind of behavior, duplicity will not do. He has used this word, this double standard will not do. So I think that, it could not have been any stronger than what Honorable Defence Minister has said.
Absolutely, and this will certainly, like you said, strengthen India's credibility as a power that walks the talk on counter-terrorism and sovereignty. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your insights, sir.
Thank you.
Moving further, President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated a state-of-the-art cancer care centre at Sir Ganga Ram Hospital in New Delhi. The President interacted with cancer patients and lauded the hospital's key role in providing healthcare services. The state-of-the-art facility is dedicated to cancer patients and features advanced treatment capabilities, offering holistic care to over 200 cancer patients. Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena and Union Minister of State for Health Anupriya Patel were also present on the occasion. And in a swift and coordinated effort, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has successfully recovered and begun analysis of the black boxes from the ill-fated Air India flight AI-171. The crash protection module from front black box was safely retrieved on 24th and 25th June. The memory module was successfully assessed and its data has been downloaded at the AAIB lab. The analysis of CVR and FDR data is underway. These efforts aim to reconstruct the sequence of events leading to the accident and identify contributing factors to enhance aviation safety and prevent future occurrences. And the famous Rath Yatra will be held in Puri city of eastern Indian state of Odisha on Friday. The Chaturdamurti, which is the divine trinity of Jagannath, Balbhadra and Subhadra along with Sudarshan will appear before devotees from their majestic chariot. A massive crowd of devotees and pilgrims is expected to gather in Puri for the grand festival. The construction of 3 chariots has been completed. The administration anticipates the presence of over 1 million devotees on Rath Yatra day. And to ensure a safe and well-regulated Rath Yatra, massive police deployment has been arranged. Extensive arrangements for smooth mobility that includes 365 special trains to Puri, 250 special buses and 200 doctors along with over 500 paramedical staff have been arranged.
We have a massive and elaborate police arrangement which is being supervised with the Superintendent of Police. There have been different verticals on which they are working, including the traffic, mobility plan, law and order, and also since Puri Rath Yatra is a sensitive gathering where lakhs of pilgrims are going to flock this holy city. So even NSG is going to be here this time around, and apart from that, all other uniformed services in their different roles will be present to supervise the smooth conduct of the festival.
Sri Amarnath Shrine Board and the Jammu and Kashmir administration have geared up for the upcoming annual Amarnath Yatra 2025 scheduled to commence in the first week of July. The Jammu and Kashmir administration has already started preparation for the smooth conduct of annual Yatra. The Yatra will commence on July 3rd and will culminate on August 9 on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan. Alright, some weather updates now. North Indian state of Himachal Pradesh is already witnessing heavy rainfall. At least 2 people were killed and over 10 went missing after cloudbursts led to flash floods in many of the state districts on Wednesday. In Kangra district, relief and rescue operations are continuing on war footing. 2 contingents of the State Disaster Response Force and a team of Home Guard are deployed at the site and are continuously engaged in search operations. Apart from this, a contingent of National Disaster Response Force has also been called to assist in relief and rescue operations. The administration has safely rescued 50 tourist trekkers trapped after heavy rains that led to floods. An orange alert has been announced on 27th and 28th June, and tourists are appealed to travel keeping in mind the weather and not go near rivers and streams. And the road in Lahaul Spiti of Himachal Pradesh is clear today. It was earlier closed due to debris falling and landsliding in Kaza Sumdo district after 2 days of rain. Border Roads Organization is currently working on restoration of roads in various districts. The closure of roads were due to flooding in the drain. And heavy rains continue to lash Uttarakhand. Indian Met Department has issued an orange alert with rains expected in parts of the state for the next 7 days. IMD has appealed to the people living near landslide-prone sensitive areas to take special precautions. At the same time, due to the ongoing rain across the state, road closure in different areas have been announced. Administration is working hard to reopen the routes. Moving to South India, heavy rain has caused a landslide on the Shiradikhat road in Karnataka. This has resulted in disruption of the traffic movement. Personnel from the local administration and the National Highways Authority of India are engaged in clearing the route. In the western state of Maharashtra, continuous heavy rain triggered waterlogging in Washim city. India Met Department has declared that the city is likely to continue receiving rain for the next 3 days. On to some global weather news. 6 people have died due to severe flooding in southwest China's Guizhou province on Thursday. Continuous heavy rainfall and upstream inflows have triggered severe flooding in Rongjiang and Gongjiang counties of Guizhou, prompting mass evacuations. Over 80,000 people have been evacuated from the flood-hit counties so far. And Paris is hit by heavy rainfall and flash flooding as a violent storm broke out. According to Météo France, 57 of the country's departments are under orange vigilance for thunderstorms on the 7th day of an early national heat wave in which 40 degrees Celsius mark has once again been passed. While in Colombia, at least 11 people have died in a landslide in the municipality of Belo near Medellin, a day after heavy rains unleashed the wall of mud and debris on crowded neighborhoods and buried some dozen homes. Emergency workers continue with search and rescue efforts using dogs, drones and other tools. All right, to give updates on the weather at Himachal Pradesh, Rachna Verma is joining us from Shimla. Rachna, the visuals that we see of Kangra are really scary. At least 2 people killed, over 10 missing after cloud burst. Tell us about the scale of damage and about relief and rescue operations.
Definitely, the past 24 hours been very difficult for the states, and the normal life has been put out of the gear here. If I may talk about the deaths here, 6 people have been confirmed deaths, 3 in Kullu districts and of course 2 in Kangra districts, and the 6 people have been missing. It is also said that eyewitness have watched that one person has been seen going through the forest. So while 2 teams have been formed to rescue the forest, to rescue the operation. NDRF team and the Home Department have made two teams regarding that. So search operation is going on. If I may talk about the damage, so footbridges, parking lots, and the normal life has been put out of the gear. Specifically talk about the students, since the examination month is going on. Lots of university students and the school students have been suffering a lot because of this.
All right, Rachna, also tell us about the current situation there in Himachal, in Shimla. You're standing by, but what is the forecast for the next few days, and also tell us about the advisories that has been issued by the authorities.
MID department, orange alert has been issued for the next 3 days, and the yellow alert for the cloudburst and flash floods for 3 districts, specifically Chamba, Kangra, Kullu, and few areas, isolated areas of Shimla. Apart from that, advisory has been given to the tourists that avoid any kind of travel and any kind of adventure near to the river banks, and all these things have been issued. Advisory has been issued that please go through the IMDs and prior to the news before planning any travel to Himachal. All right,
Rachna, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Shimla. Time now for another short break, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Inter Milan reaches Club World Cup last 16 with a 2-0 win over River Plate. Former England coach Gareth Southgate receives knighthood.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. The dream thought a decade ago has now become a reality. Smart City mission has not only created infrastructure but also hopes. Watch this special report.
The Smart Cities mission aims to enhance the quality of life in India's cities through smart and sustainable solutions. By focusing on key areas like infrastructure, governance and social development, the mission seeks to transform urban living across the nation. The Smart City mission was launched in 2015. It has now completed 10 years. Focused on economic development, inclusiveness and sustainability, this is a mission to bring together diverse needs like housing, transportation, education, healthcare and entertainment. With 100 cities driving the initiative, the Smart Cities mission has achieved substantial progress. And the list of achievements is quite impressive. All 100 smart cities have operational integrated command and control centers. They have significantly improved city operations such as transport, water supply and solid waste management. Over 84,000 CCTV cameras have been installed in 100 smart cities, aiding in crime monitoring. 28 cities have developed drinking water treatment capacity of more than 2,900 million litres per day. More than 1,320 projects on public spaces have been developed across 84 smart cities. 27 cities have created wastewater treatment capacity of 1,370 million litres per day. 9,433 smart classrooms have been developed across 2,300 government schools in 71 smart cities. Through smart technology, sustainable solutions, and active community involvement, the mission has enhanced infrastructure, public safety, mobility, water supply, and healthcare. As the mission moves forward, it continues to work towards building smarter, more livable cities that can serve as examples for others to follow. Bureau Report, DD India.
And as the global community observes the United Nations accredited International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking on June 26, India stands poised to reaffirm its commitment to a society free from the grip of substance abuse. This year's global theme, Breaking the Chains, Prevention, Treatment and Recovery for All, resonates powerfully with the nation's ongoing multi-pronged approach to this critical public health and social challenge. Our next report brings you more.
Highlights the urgent need to combat illicit drugs. The 2025 theme promotes evidence-based prevention, accessible treatment, and compassionate recovery support. It also stresses tackling drug trafficking's ties to organized crime through strong international cooperation. In India, the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, spearheaded by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, has gained significant momentum. This nationwide initiative, operational across all districts, focuses on raising awareness about the adverse effects of substance abuse, with a particular emphasis on engaging youth in educational institutions and communities. The Abhiyan has reached over 15.78 crore people, including many youth and women, through awareness activities. Over 4.31 lakh educational institutions have participated. The strategy focuses on supply control, demand reduction, and access to treatment and rehabilitation. To mark the day, the government is holding awareness events from June 1st to 26th, ending with a national program. Partnering with spiritual and social groups, the campaign aims to boost outreach and community involvement. India is also strengthening its rehab and treatment centers for addiction. The International Day Against Drug Abuse highlights the need for a united national effort. It calls for a compassionate, community-based approach backed by strong law enforcement and global cooperation. Jessica Taneja, DD India.
And India has achieved a significant milestone, entering the top 100 in the UN Sustainable Development Goals rankings for the first time. Ranked 99th out of 167 countries with a score of 67 in the latest Sustainable Development Report, this marks a consistent upward trajectory from 109th in 2024, reflecting India's dedicated progress. East and South Asia, including India, have notably outperformed other global regions in SDG progress since 2015 due to rapid socio-economic development. This milestone highlights India's progress in aligning national efforts with global sustainability goals and reinforces its vision for a Viksit Bharat by 2047. International Monetary Fund has lauded the impact of the Unified Payments Interface System in India. The latest paper published by the IMF, titled Growing Retail Digital Payments, the Value of Interoperability, has attributed the success of UPI in India to demographic factors and the demonetization shock. Sports now. Inter Milan are through to the last 16 of the Club World Cup with victory over River Plate. Francesco Pio Esposito scored in the 72nd minute and Alessandro Bastoni added an insurance goal in stoppage time to lead Inter Milan to a 2-0 win over River Plate. Inter Milan finished atop Group E with 7 points, 2 more than Monterrey, which finished second in the group following a 3-0 victory over Urawa Red Diamonds on Wednesday night. River Plate finished in third with 4 points and Urawa Red Diamonds finished in last in the group. Now, Gareth Southgate added his name to an elite footballing list when the former England manager received his knighthood at Windsor Castle on Wednesday. The 54-year-old was awarded the honour for services to football. Southgate's influence, however, stretched beyond the field of play as he became one of football's most respected figures. As England boss, Southgate led the Three Lions to the finals of Euro 2020 and 2024, as well as the semi-finals of the World Cup in 2018. He is only the 7th football manager to be given the honour. So all set for the final docking. After a successful Falcon 9 launch, the docking process of the Axiom 4 SpaceX module with the International Space Station will begin. The process is largely automated but involves dozens of intricate steps, each demanding pinpoint accuracy. The X4 crew successfully lifted off on June 25th into space on board SpaceX Dragon aircraft, nearly a month of delays and postponements. The Axiom 4 mission, launched aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, is unfolding as planned, with the spacecraft steadily approaching the International Space Station. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.